Happy Monday, May 23rd, 2022. My camera angle's a little different here. I got the ongoing issues in this Digibug 2. I got to get a better camera mount, little mounts that hold the phone. This one here is a little low. Anyway, I'll still be able to get my message across, I think, even though I'm having technical difficulties with the camera phone holder, whatever it is. Yeah, it just doesn't stick. I can see it. So if it flops over when I turn the corner, you'll know why. I'm not getting in an accident and rolling the car. It's actually the camera mount. But I watched the, well, let's see. I want to get into the meetup because I do have some more plans for our meetup on June 17th finalized, and I want to get those details out. You can go to clintwestwood.net for all the details. Click on the happy hour link at the top. But I'll get to that in a little bit. I saw over the weekend, there was a lot of big talk over the World Economic Forum or the World Health Organization, that's what it was, and how, I think it was yesterday, May 22nd, how many of the global leaders and countries, Biden included, were going to sign on to this World Health Organization charter, platform, whatever it is, and a lot of people are worried about it giving sovereignty, national sovereignty over to these basically the medical industrial complex, World Health Organization, and so that the next time there's a pandemic or, what are you doing? This dog is jumping around, or any kind of health issue around the world, then the World Health Organization would take power and nations would follow all the edicts and all the advice or whatever it is, all the orders, recommendations from the World Health Organization, so thereby basically giving up your sovereignty to a medical organization, medical tyranny, basically. So there's that fear going on right now. How much truth to it there is, I don't know. Again, to me, it kind of comes down to what are you willing to comply with through this whole pandemic of Novid. We saw people complying and people going along and people believing the narrative, and we still have the pricks and the boosters being approved, even though they're not going through their normal testing process. It's for emergency use authorization, and we still have people taking it. So it's really, but you don't have to, and that's it. Nobody's getting fired, even though they said you were going to get fired. Nobody's getting fired for not taking it. And they wanted to convince you that that was the case. Well, it turns out that it kind of wasn't the case, and the courts have been upholding the rights that we knew we always had. So it's the same thing that's going to happen here. Another pandemic comes out, and it might be a real one this time. I kind of thought that from the get-go, that this Novid was going to be the kind of see what we can get away with kind of thing, and see how far we can push people, see how far we can, play this charade. What are you doing? Get over here. Hey, you're falling off. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at this. Crazy dog. Bouncing around, anxious. Probably got to go potty, don't you? So they wanted to see how far they could push us, and what kind of how far they could get away with the mass ritual, the masking and all that. And they, quite a few people went along with it. So now that they've kind of found out where the population is and where the population stands, they'll probably release the real deal, an actual, population killer. And now they're pumping this monkeypox thing, that it's bad news. Oh, monkeypox, let's order 13 million vaccines and for monkeypox, and who knows what it is. It's been around for a long time, but a lot of this is probably engineered in a laboratory and then released, because if you had unlimited funds and unlimited money, that's kind of the thing you do when you want to control the population and wipe the population out. Yeah, this camera's crooked. Oh well, the whole world's crooked. I'm just trying to right it by crookeding the camera, setting it back in balance. But be prepared for this stuff. This is the kind of stuff they've written about, these journals and these seminal magazines and writings that all these elitists do. And then we see this guy speaking in front of the World Economic Forum, I think it was last week, talking about these pills, you know, these medicines. And that was another thing. I guess one of the pharmaceutical companies is coming out with a pill vaccine or a pill cure for viruses, whatever it is. Then you see at the same time this guy speaking to the World Economic Forum saying, yes, there's this chip that's inside of the pill, so we know when the patient takes it. And it's better for compliance. It helps with compliance. And see, that's what they're all about. Comply. You comply with our orders. Doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. Comply with the orders. Get your 2 pricks and 2 boosters and continue to do it every 6 months. Get on the schedule. You know, you need 35 vaccines, you know, by the time you're out of grade school. Comply with us. And that's all they want. And embedded in that word comply is the fact that they're basically convincing you to go along with it. They're not making you do it, but they're gonna try and convince you to do it, and they're gonna do everything they can to convince you to do it. Because I think at the end of this whole thing, the bigger picture is that I think there are some rules that they have to follow, you know, some kind of spiritual rules, even though they are dark energy. I think they have to get you to voluntarily opt into the system. You know, it's almost like you see, you know, these, I don't know, you know, people using Ouija boards and other, you know, gadgets and, you know, portal openers, and it attracts spirits in. And I think it's because you're voluntarily letting it in. It's the vampire theme, and I keep using it because the vampire can't come into your house, and according to legend, you know, Hollywood, whatever, can't come into your house unless, I should back in. I'm gonna melt this phone. They can't come into your house unless you invite them over the threshold. You know, so there's always that vampire's trying to convince you, oh, I'd like to, you know, I'm the new neighbor. I'd like to come over for dinner and, you know, bring you something and, you know, a housewarming gift. And so they try to deceive their way into the home, you know, and get the invitation, because at some spiritual level, there's some rules that they have to follow, and they can't just, you know, suck your soul away. You have to voluntarily let them do that. And if they trick you into doing that, that's okay. It's in the rules. I think that's the same thing that we see with these vampires that run things. They have to convince you to comply. You have to, you know, voluntarily opt into the system. And when you look at a lot of what goes on, and I don't want to get into this because a lot of the things that you sign up for, I mean, they take the birth certificate. You know, people say, well, they sell your birth certificate as collateral, and that's part of the U.S. corporation. And by putting your name on that birth certificate, they file it. You know, well, what if you didn't fill out the birth certificate and you don't sign it? Then you're not complying, and then you're kind of not in the system. So it's almost like you're opting in, but you don't realize you're opting in. But you have to do your own research to know that you shouldn't opt in. And they kind of use that against you and say, hey, well, you didn't have to do it. You didn't have to take the prick. You know, we just recommended it. Hey, you didn't have to sign your birth certificate, and, you know, you did it anyway, but you didn't know any better, because that's what's always been done, and that's what's been inculcated into you and taught in the educational system. Oh, you sign the birth certificate, then it gets filed, blah, but you don't realize the consequences of that. So that's what they want you to do. They want you to kind of opt in, and then they'll say, well, you were too stupid to do your own research, so you deserve what you get, and that's kind of their attitude. I think that's kind of what you deal with. But I think there are certain rules that they have to follow, and that's why you see this guy coming out and say, well, it's good for compliance, you know, we're going to make them comply. And then, so you take the pill, they'll know you took the pill, then they can therefore get you on the, get you in the system and know you're in the system. God knows what's in the pill. You see these little Theragrabbers. If you ever look that up, there's something called a Theragrabber. And, you know, some people were speculating that with the test, you know, that you stick up your nose with the Q-tip, there could very easily be a Theragrabber on there. And it's like this little microchip thing with claws on it. And then as it hits the human body at a certain temperature, it like latches on, and then it can release something into the body. It can, I mean, you know, actually give you the vax. If, you know, even though you think it's a test, it's got this stuff in it, you know, or it could send a signal. It's like a little chip. So I don't know. The fact is, the technology is there to do it. So what makes you think they're not going to use that technology? Especially when you're voluntarily taking something. Here, shove this up your nose. You know, you want to work, right? So it's hard to say what all goes on, but you know, you go back and you look at the sci-fi movies, you look at all the books that have been written decades ago, even 100 years ago, and you start to see, man, is this stuff starting to come true? And then you think, well, maybe they told us it was going to happen and they warned us it was going to happen, and now they laugh at us because we allow it to happen and we volunteer into that system, and they say, you know, it's your own fault. We gave you all the information you needed. You just didn't pay attention. Even though you distracted us, you took over the educational system, you lied to us that whole time and tried to convince us that this is the way it is and brainwashed us. But you know what? It's still your own fault because you voluntarily did it. So I think that's the kind of system we're living in. It's kind of a dark... They're playing by spiritual laws that at some level have to be played by, and rules that they know, but they're very deceptive in how they do it. And ultimately, it's our fault. I think that's the way they look at it. It's your fault. You volunteered into it. You had a choice not to, but you did anyway. So that gets them off the hook. Anyway, so yeah, there's that. And then yesterday was Bitcoin Pizza Day. What's Bitcoin Pizza Day? Well, a guy named Laszlo actually bought 2 pizzas, I believe, from Papa John's for 10,000 Bitcoin back in 2010. And people say, oh my God, 10,000 Bitcoin. I can't believe you paid 10,000 Bitcoin for something. Well, at the time, 10,000 Bitcoin, you know, you couldn't even use it. You know, and that was kind of the thing. It was unofficially the first time Bitcoin was used to purchase a real life item. Because, yeah, I got to think, Bitcoin came out in January of 2009. And, I mean, when something new comes out, how many people really know about it? And so it takes time, you know. So a little over a year, enough people had kind of gotten involved in it to where somebody said, let's try and buy something with this. Let's do something with this. And proving that someone would actually accept it for, you know, a real item, something you could eat. Because, I mean, you got to think about it. You know, somebody creates something out of nothing. And it's just like this magic computer money that, you know, somebody's running a laptop at the time they can create it. And then they say, hey, I want to give you some of this for some food. And you think, okay, what am I going to do with this? You could give me 1 million of them. I don't know what the frick I could do with it. So, I mean, that proved the use case that there is a use case for Bitcoin. And that was kind of the first time. And then now, you know, the more and more it's used, the more and more cryptocurrencies are used, the more and more people realize that, wait a minute, somebody can send me that. And that was sent over the world, I believe. You know, so you convinced somebody in Europe and paid them. And I don't know how it all worked. But anyway, you know, somebody sent Bitcoin for some pizzas. So now you know that, wow, I can send cryptocurrency and no banks involved, no governments involved. I can send it anywhere in the world out of my own wallet because I am my bank. I am the bank, and it gets there. You know, anywhere in the world. Boom, it's there. And you don't even have to worry about it. You don't have to verify it and authenticate it because the network takes care of it. It says, hey, this Bitcoin is in your wallet. And it keeps track of all that since the beginning of the entire blockchain, you know, in 2009. That's what the blockchain does. It keeps track of all the transactions. So you don't have to worry about getting defrauded, you know, or chargebacks on credit cards to where, you know, for 6 months, if you're a business, somebody pays for something up to 6 months, they can say, well, that was a fraudulent charge. And the credit card company charges it back and takes the money from you, even though you sold them a legitimate item. So it's really not in the favor of the merchant or the business to use credit cards. Now, if they had crypto, somebody would pay them in crypto. It's like giving them digital cash. They don't have to give it back. Like, no, this is a transaction. We made a deal. It's like handing cash over. So it's a more legitimate transaction, a real transaction that you're going to think more about and say, well, you know, I'm just not going to go out and blow a bunch of Bitcoin or Litecoin because once I spend it, it's gone. It's not like credit, you know, we're just made up out of nothing. You're like, yeah, whatever, I'll pay it back later, or maybe I won't. Or pay it back when I feel like it, you know, and it's a whole different thing. Once it's gone, it's gone. Good luck getting it back because it's a finite asset. There's only so many. So we've gotten to the point where there's an actual use case for cryptocurrency, and people are starting to see that use case every day. And you can buy things with these things. So it's come a long way, you know, since Bitcoin Pizza Day back in 2010. Every day is Bitcoin Pizza Day now. Doesn't take you much Bitcoin to buy a whole pizza. So that's kind of cool. if you were in it early anyway. Back to the meetup. That's where I kind of started and got into that a little bit. June 17th in Peoria, Illinois. I've got the location locked in for our happy hour event and meetup. That is going to be at the Peoria Pizza Works. We had it there last time I had a meetup. We had it there. It's a nice place. I mean, you know, it's very affordable. You know, it's not, you're not going to spend a bunch of money on drinks. You're going to get some nice, strong drinks. They've always done that. I've been going there for, shoot, over 20 years. And same guy running it. It's they're happy to have us there. So, you know, show up and buy a bunch of drinks, eat some food. They get really good pizza, and get and tip your bartender, your waitresses, and let's have a good time, because we're going to have a happy hour. It's going to start. The meetup roughly starts at 3 o'clock. I mean, we're going to be setting up, kind of putting the speaker up and, you know, doing that kind of stuff. Lisa and I, Litecoin Lisa and I, will be getting that stuff ready. So, I mean, you know, feel free to show up and hang out. I mean, you can show up earlier if you want, but, you know, we do have to get that stuff set up. The happy hour live show officially starts at 4 p.m. Central Time, goes to 5 p.m. Central Time officially, unless we run over a little bit. Just depends. We might have some guests there that we want to bring on. And then after that, we're going to go for a few hours. We will have so you can hang out and meet everybody, talk crypto freedom. That's what we do. If you do not have a wallet, if you do not have Litecoin, come to this meetup. I will get you set up with a wallet and send you some Litecoin. I want to make sure that people understand that's what these meetups are about. You can ask questions. I want to make sure you understand how to have cryptocurrency in your own possession. And that's what a lot of this is. It's all about education. And I want to make sure you've got crypto in your own possession before you leave. So I'll give you more instructions as we go, if you're going, as far as downloading a wallet and have it ready to go. And then I can just go, boom, here's your Litecoin. You'll see how easy it is. So 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, happy hour live. June 17th, Peoria, Illinois, the Peoria Pizza Works. All the details are on my website, clintwestwood.net. And then Friday night, we're going to be, later that night, we're going to have a VIP dinner. We've already sold a couple of tickets. That is going to be Litecoin Lisa and I will be at the dinner. You can hang out with us, ask us any questions you want. And it really supports our channel. It really supports our ability to go out on the road. And so it includes dinner and some drinks, and you'll just get to hang out with us, you know, for a couple hours at the VIP dinner. And so that was cool. We did that in Oklahoma City. That was really nice. And I mean, it helps out. It helps out the channel. I mean, because I mean, honestly, with the cost of gas, and I mean, it's just tough to travel. It's rough to travel right now, and you know, staying, the expenses when we go on the road. Fortunately, this is close for me, but Lisa has to travel from Oklahoma City to get here. And, you know, it's expensive. And I know it's expensive for all of you coming, but that's why we try and take it on the road a little bit so that, you know, you don't have to drive as far. So right now, Peoria is kind of, you know, it's a good central location for a lot of people in the Midwest. So, if you can make it, I mean, please do. June 17th, Peoria, Illinois, clintwestwood.net. Check out all the details. And it's about bringing people together. If you haven't been to a meetup, you need to get to a meetup. You really do, because that's what this is. And we just happen to do our live happy hour to try and bring a little more flair and excitement to it. You know, we do it every Friday at 4 p.m. Central Time, live on YouTube, Twitter. But we do it live at these events and broadcast it out to, you know, everybody who's watching it, you know, every week. But this time we're live, and you can come watch and hang out and meet a lot of great people. There are going to be a lot of people at this event, coming from a lot of different places. I know California, Florida, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma City, obviously. I believe even Ohio, Michigan. I mean, there's a lot of people coming that have committed. I'm trying to think of everybody. Texas. I mean, representation all over the U.S. coming to this meetup. It's going to be a really good meetup, and you're going to meet a lot of cool people who are into crypto. So don't miss out. Some people from Illinois coming, local people. Get here. Just get here. Let's hang out. Let's talk crypto. Let's just do it. And again, like I said, if you have people who are interested in cryptocurrency that don't know anything about cryptocurrency, this is an opportunity for them to, in a relaxed environment, you can sit back and have a drink and just sit back and watch if you want to. But it's an opportunity where there's a lot of people there who know a lot about cryptocurrency, have been in it for a while, who can answer questions when you have those questions, and it's not intimidating, and it's a free event. Donations are always welcome. We may have a raffle for some items and that kind of thing, or just consider buying a ticket to the VIP dinner. It's $250, but you get a nice dinner, you get some drinks, you get to hang out, and it really does help, help us travel. So there's only 10 tickets I think available, something like that. But yeah, we sold them out in Oklahoma City, and it was definitely, it was fun. It really was. So consider that, or just make a donation, $250 if you can't make it, and maybe, somebody there can, attend, you can sponsor somebody. So anyway, there's that. For details on that, I think you can go to lightquinlisa.net. She'll be talking about it on her show every day, 4 p.m. Central Time. I'll have to put a link up for that on my website too, clintwestwood.net. I'll get a link for that so you can sign up and get your ticket, or just shoot me an email, from my website. I'll get you details. But get to the meetup. That's free. Donations are always welcome, trust me. And it's just, we do it because we love it. We do it because we want to get people into cryptocurrency. That's really what it's all about, so that you can get some way out of this system, that they've got us volunteering into. Quit complying. And so that's just my way of, hey, let's stop complying. I talk about silver at these things too. It's all these different things, freedom, as far as freedom of food. How can you produce your own food? It's about all these ideas of how to not comply with a system that does not have our best interests at heart. It just doesn't. And it's just so big that it can't anymore. So we have to start looking at ways to kind of break out of that and say, okay, well, they've done a lot of damage to us, but there's still time to kind of get out of it. And so how do we do it? Can't do it overnight. Let's just start moving out of that system any way we can. So these meetups are great. June 17th, clintwestwood.net, all the details. All right, rambled enough. Have a happy Monday. Always trust yourself. If you've got that feeling, and I have this happen every time I go to a meetup, somebody says, I just, something just told me I had to be here. And then I end up just bumping into somebody randomly, and they tell me the story, and I'm like, yeah, makes sense. It always happens. I felt like I needed to come here. Now that I'm here, I'm like, oh my God, if I had missed it, I don't know why. I'm so glad I came. And that's the story I get every time. I have those personal conversations with people. It's like, trust yourself. That's why I always say that. It's from personal experience. Trust yourself and your instincts. When I see people who do, it changes their life. It changes their mindset. And I'm glad I did this. Somebody said, oh, why are you driving 100 miles to go to this thing? Oh, you're crazy. And then when they show up, they're like, now I know why I did it. I knew I had to do it, and I got here, and now I know why I did it. So very important to trust yourself. Just let go. It's one day. One day. Come to this freaking meetup. June 17th. It's on a Friday. Live happy hour. Come hang out with us. All right. Love y'all. Trust yourselves. Hope you have a wonderful day. If you got anything out of this, hit that thumbs up. And get some people who are interested in crypto to this meetup. If you have any questions, leave a comment below, and I try and answer all of them. You can always reach out to me via email. I got a few people that I'm kind of behind on, trying to get back with them, but I did see the emails. All right, I love y'all. Have a wonderful day. Trust yourselves.